Welcome back to the Cutty and Govy show. How you doing, Govy?
I'm good.
Beautiful day today. Not a cloud in the sky. There's a nice breeze. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify. We're all over the place, and our reels are blowing up. Last week we had a reel that did over 5,000. What was that reel about? 5,000. But anyway, we have so much to talk about, Govy. I mean, Joe quit the race. Then we have the assassination of Trump. But I think where we should start the show, if it's okay with you, Cutty lost a $10,000 bet to Govy. And the bet was over. I said Joe Biden would never do the debate. And I lost because he did the debate. I lost $10,000. I showed on the show. I gave you a check for $10,000. But Cutty was right, because if Joe never did that debate, he would still be in the race. That debate put him out of the race completely. Therefore, I think I'm entitled to my money back because I was right. They should have listened to me as campaign people. Go ahead, Govy.
What you didn't know is the reason why he went on the debate was he was being sabotaged and stabbed by his own people. So that is the reason why he went on the debate, and I can bring that up in all my little thing. I have 3 conspiracies, and I could share one with you. And one, can just let me know if you want me to tell you.
Well, because it'll be pretty fast, because it's been beat over so much. The Secret Service. You know, they did fire the director of the Secret Service. And now I watched her in Congress, and we spoke on the phone. And it's obvious why they call it the Secret Service, because everything's a secret. She didn't know anything. But I mean, it was unbelievable.
It's politicized now. Everything is politicized. Like years ago, FBI, CIA, Secret Service. You were proud of these guys. Like, it was like, this is the United States' Secret Service, our CIA. Like Britain has the Scotland Yard. This is like, or Israel has the Mossad. This is an embarrassment. I mean, First of all, the protection that Donald Trump had that day on a zero-fail mission.
Zero-fail company.
Zero-fail company. So if you said, okay, what mistake did you make? I mean, did you ever see 10 mistakes? Not 1, not 2. It was 10 mistakes. It was like, it's almost like the Keystone Cops in the state of Pennsylvania, which is the Keystone State. They had no idea. They had snipers that were supposed to be there, left their rank, and there's so much footage. Then they let them out they let them go out there, like knowing that there was a target. So
maybe the Secret Service is complacent in what they do for a living. But the thing that amazed me was that the woman wouldn't resign. Now, the mantra of the Secret Service is zero fail. You cannot, if you have 100 missions, you must succeed at 100 missions. It's like Air Force One going in the air with the most powerful man in the world. It can't crash. It's zero failure. How can a woman sitting there, and that's her job, to run a company that has a zero failure rate, and have 10 failures that day?
It's shocking. But what's more shocking is, let me ask you, if you were the head of the Secret Service, would you look into the history of all the other ex-heads of the Secret Service, like a president, like you know your history? So when you know, like, the last time there was a assassination attempt, she was asked this question in front of Congress. They said, do you know what happened to the head of the Secret Service, the last assassination attempt, which was against Reagan? And she actually said, no. What happened to him? And they answered, he resigned. Like, he resigned. It was a zero.
Right, I did hear that.
It was so it's like, you should know that. You should know that this happened before, and what happens is you step down because it's zero fail. And she failed on so many missions. And she lied. She was telling it was a slopes roof. People went out there. I mean, it was bizarre on this whole situation.
Well, it's like Donald Trump said, nobody gets fired. You know, he was great on The Apprentice. He fired everybody. But here,
He did fire someone.
who'd he fire?
Himself. He resigned. He resigned. He fired himself. That's the only person he fired.
This is my simple conspiracy theory. I believe that this director of the CIA, who I just found out was a lesbian, a la the DEI, and she's a lesbian, and she wants to hire all these
That
diversity.
doesn't bother me as long as she protects me. But
If you're 6'3", do you want a 5'5" woman protecting you?
but she looks 6'3". She looks like she could protect you.
Yeah, she could protect you. She could take a bullet. But so this is my simple conspiracy theory. Let me know your opinion.
Okay.
I think that the CIA was complicit in hiding Hunter Biden's cocaine in the White House, covering for Hunter Biden with the gun, doing the other thing at Hotel Marmont or whatever, and she had the goods on Joe Biden. Joe Biden asked her, or somebody told her, cover up for my kid. So therefore, he could never fire her because she could go rat. She could go say, wait a second, Joe, you know, I have the goods on you. You told me to cover up for your kid. I'm not, you can't fire me. That's why I think she didn't quit. I thought she thought she was invincible.
And Ashley's diary when she was in rehab in Del Rey, she left her diary behind. And do you remember that was a big? So the Secret Service actually prosecuted the guy who had the diary because she put all her personal stuff in there about her dad.
But what do you think about the fact that even when they were questioning her in Congress, like, you know, everything I've done for my life except this show, I've been prepared for.
Right.
Can you imagine for 9 days before Congress, she wasn't prepared. She never went to the site. Like if I was going to go in front of Congress, I would have went to that site and at least walked around so I could sit there and talk about it.
I think she was told. She had to have been told. She was getting advice. Someone gave her advice.
Oh.
Maybe someone told her, listen, you got everything on Joe Biden. He doesn't fire anybody. Right. Show up there and do exactly what everybody else does. I mean, you got to see it with, what was that, Loretta or the one from the IRS?
Yeah.
I mean, she went up there and took the fifth. I mean, you can go up there. Everybody survived that went up in front of Congress. And it was like, all you have to do is play ignorant and it goes away. This one was like, she angered both sides, and that
Jamie Raskin came after her.
AOC came after her.
AOC came
after
after
her. It was just ridiculous on her answers that she couldn't give.
But like if you were the Secret Service director, and this happened on your watch, you have a zero-fail company. Wouldn't you have quit? I would have quit. Yeah. I wouldn't have thought I would. I never thought the next morning if I was Lloyd Austin and they found me missing in action for 5 days and I'm a military man, I would have my job.
Well, maybe when my conspiracy number one, where it comes into play, maybe
you're dying for that.
Well, maybe why she didn't quit, that she didn't want to quit in the beginning, is because she witnessed that they tried to put Donald Trump, his opponent, in jail. Tried to put him in jail by so many different...
Joe Biden. Okay.
His legal team, his Department of Justice ran all these cases. I mean, there was like 4 and 5 cases at a time going, frivolous little cases that were crazy. So she witnessed that. She witnessed 20-plus states trying to take him off the ballot, that the Supreme Court had to do that. Then they decide that they're going to have a debate, and it was going to be on CNN, no people in the audience. I mean, they were running all these different things. Now, I think that the Democratic Party tried all these different things, and every time they lost, that Trump kept winning. So now they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this debate early, and we're going to see what we have. He's not the answer. They know he's failing. They know Joe Biden. They knew he wasn't going to make it. So the big thing is they're in power. They got to keep their power. If they would have, so they were thinking, okay, if we have an open election,
Well, you put a lot of thought into this.
Well, if they have an open election and they decided that Kennedy wanted to have a debate or go
Right.
up on stage, and there wouldn't be just Kennedy. Let's just say Joe Biden stepped down immediately. It would have been Harris. It would have been Kennedy. It could have been Josh Shapiro. It could have been like 5 different guys. But if one of them win, they lose their power of their minion in office. So they needed Harris. Harris never was going to win, because she hasn't won one delegate. So how do they get Harris to win?
They get Joe out of the way.
But they need him to get his delegates.
Right. Well, they threatened Joe, and he had to quit.
But he owned his delegates, which he could then hand to Harris, and everybody says, there you go. So she actually wins, gets anointed, and that's all you hear about is Joe talking about democracy. It's so funny. He's weighing in on the Venezuelan election today, talking about Maduro like, we got to see if it's fair. Like, how does our country talk about another country's election when, look at us? I mean, how's it fair?
Well, they believe they're righteous, and they don't believe what they're doing is wrong. And they're not coming out publicly and saying, it was a palace coup and that's what we did. What they wanted to do, they knew Kamala could never, I agree with you, Kamala could never have done a campaign against 3 or 4 other candidates, so they've schemed it, figuring a way to slide her in without her having to compete against anybody, because they know Barack Obama or whoever's running the country right now knows they can manipulate her if she wins.
100%.
Right.
So they needed her to keep their power.
Yeah.
And she wasn't going to win because I think, by the way, with 100 days to go, they did all this with 100 days, which has never been done in the history of the United States. Johnson, I think, resigned with 300 days to go. So they have never had anything quite like this. Now they're thinking by the time all the stuff comes out, it's election, it's go time. Maybe she sneaks in. But I think with the media, and now that...
But there's too much tape on her. There's too
and
many...
Twitter, they don't control Twitter now.
there's too many videos of her saying, I'm going to create a bailout fund for protesters.
But they're trying to take back that she's not even the
it's impossible.
Borders are. Well, they are. They're changing that, and that was a big thing today. And I just think that was their game plan to try to get her in. She's further left than anybody could possibly imagine. You got to be crazy, this country, to have universal health care for everybody.
No more meat.
Yeah, universal health care for everybody. She wants to have universal salaries.
How do you have universal health care? I mean, that's $1 trillion a year.
Just look at California. All you have to say is, this is what she's left of what's there. She would be left of California.
Right.
Would you want California to be the United States? The answer is no. But with all that going, I think that the CIA, which maybe had something to do with the Kennedy assassination, said, we've done everything we possibly can to get this guy off the ticket. The only thing left is
kill him. You know what? I don't believe that to be the case. I believe, though, because if you watch Dan Bongino, who's a great former Navy SEAL, Secret Service, he said, it is political. Like, he would have 40,000 people at a rally, and they would only have 2 metal detectors. So force people to stay in the hot sun for 5 or 6 hours. So maybe... You're going to the extreme of saying maybe they tried to have him killed, but I'm going to say a hybrid of that. Maybe the Secret Service was instructed to be a little lazy on his protection, and if some nutcase came along, he might be vulnerable. You're saying out and out.
Well, let me ask you the big question. In Afghanistan, there was a suicide bomber that our sniper saw and asked the commander, can I take him out? He was told, stand down. And the guy blew up and killed 13 American soldiers. But he could have taken him out early, but they were maybe a little nervous to take out a guy that you're not 100% sure of. This sniper took out this guy, boom, immediately. Do you think they got, and this is what you're going to find out, do you think he said, I see the shooter on the roof. Can I take him out? Do you think they said to him, stand down?
Do you think they can find that out?
Yeah.
They can find it. I think
You're not going to find it out until after the election.
I think they were saying that the radios were screwed up.
How? How does that happen?
Yeah, maybe he couldn't communicate. I need to take this guy. I mean, I don't even understand why. If let's say you see a gun, you're a sharpshooter with a gun, and you see a guy on a roof with a gun. You're not on your own allowed to take the shot. You have to ask somebody.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Your job is to be a sharpshooter, and if you see a target, hit it. A guy standing there with a gun like this.
Maybe you're asking whose side he's on. Maybe you're thinking you're so bizarre that you want to know, like, he's not undercover. I don't know, but it's going to come out because they took him out. So how were they? That means they saw him.
Oh yeah, they were aimed on him. They took him out 1 second.
So why? Why did they let the president go on stage and let him get the first shot off?
It's a mystery.
Okay, so that's my conspiracy of all the messing up, and they can try to like skate through that. But it's pretty hard. Like I said, the cocaine in the White House, the gun in the thing. The Secret Service doesn't get a pass anymore, or Ray, or the FBI. It's bizarre.
So if you're Donald Trump and you're doing these rallies, are you nervous that you're the guys that are protecting you are really trying to kill you?
He's built differently. Because he just gets up there and he thinks, okay, we're going to solve it and we're going to go out there. So he's built, I mean, anybody else doesn't, after getting shot in the head, basically.
Right. You go underground.
Not like, 24 hours later, you're not at a convention.
Yeah.
I mean.
Crazy.
And you're not like sticking your hand up in the air. Like, I don't know. I'm staying down. I'm asking like, am I bleeding anywhere else? Check me out. I mean, this guy goes to show you what he's made of. He is different, which would bring me, there's all these. Right now, they're trying to figure out for Kamala Harris, for instance. Her big thing right now is she gets to choose, not her. They're going to say it's her, but they're choosing a vice presidential candidate for her. How about this thing with Josh Harris? If they want to float his name out to show you that everybody's getting a fair look, but it's already coming out. It's impossible to choose
a Jew.
Well, did you see what went on in Washington D.C. yesterday?
Yeah.
You really
riots?
Maybe we should have sent Josh Harris there and said, "Can you put the flag down? Can you put the flag down?" Right. So there's no way they would lose Michigan.
But I don't. So this is just like Josh Harris. I don't like. I go on record. Don't like Josh Harris. But this is how shitty these politicians are. I mean, Pennsylvania is a huge fracking state. Kamala Harris comes out and hates fracking, wants to shut down all fracking, get rid of all fracking.
And it's on record.
It's on record. How can Josh Harris prostitute himself and join a ticket with somebody for president of the United States that wants to kill all the jobs in Pennsylvania for fracking? I mean, that's just such a, he's a complete whore if he does that. Well, if he's offered the job and he takes the job, and Kamala says, "Look, Josh, you got to kill all this fracking. Your state's going to go down the tubes."
Well, you're talking about a governor who was for charter schools, and
another thing.
And when all of a sudden the vote came that they were going to have charter schools in Philadelphia, he had to veto his own bill.
Yeah.
He vetoed his own bill. Why? I mean, that's even worse. I mean, it's like he finally got what he promised everybody, and then he vetoed it. So he's going to be eliminated.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be...
What did he do? He's been there a year.
He fixed the bridge.
He fixed the bridge. And he's running for vice president. I guess Kamala Harris was...
And he almost had a president assassinated on his watch.
Yeah, in Butler,
because he was in charge of the state police. And it seems like everybody was involved in this. State police on down.
Right.
So you got the astronaut, Kelly.
Yeah,
he's going to be the guy.
You think so?
Yeah.
Isn't his wife the one that got shot?
Gabby Gifford.
Yeah.
The reason why I think it's him is because they need Arizona, and he came out today saying he's willing to take the side of unions. Now, he was an union guy, but he's now, their whole thing is on unions, so he's willing to accept unions. So he's already bending over now. So, he's going...
But let me ask you, Govy, if you are a career politician like these scumbags are, and you get to join a losing ticket, Kamala Harris, who's left of left, would you do that? Wouldn't it ruin the rest of your career if you have aspirations to be president someday yourself? Do you think you have a shot being her partner? Doesn't that, taint you forever?
I think you're 100% right. I think she's not having the easiest time picking a vice president, because a lot of people that she's picking before they accept, their strategists are telling them exactly what you said. Hey, you got a nice career ahead of you. Wait until 2028. But if you go on her ticket, this far left extreme person, and you get destroyed, you're done. You can't hitch your wagon to her.
How about even if they make it, if they get there, and then you have a 4-year administration that's a disaster, and you're part of that? It taints you forever.
Right.
I mean, it's a lose-lose situation.
Right.
I mean, look, you get to be vice president for 4 years, but I mean, is it worth it?
I don't know. It's
You would take it.
No, it depends on these people. I mean, anybody that already reversed field, they're politicians. That's why I love the way that there's term limits on everything. But I think it's not the easiest time. Like, if I'm this guy from Kentucky who won 2 terms already, who's a Democrat in a very red state,
Yeah.
I'm not hitching my wagon to her. I'm waiting until 2028 when he becomes the darling of the party, because they're going to need someone. And she, when it all comes out and everybody gets to see how whack she is, I think that Donald Trump wins pretty handily.
Well, let's talk about a really scary subject, and it's probably it's going to hurt our 300,000 plus viewers here. Identity politics. I'm sitting there watching on TV now that she's anointed. All these black women and African American, 2 categories, are all voting for her. They're not even listening to what she has to say. They don't care. The fact that she's an African American and she's a woman, identity politics, they want her. I think that's disgusting. You know what I'm saying? I'm not voting for a Jewish guy because I'm Jewish. I mean, I have to hear what he has to say.
Well, look, it's hard because you feel like they can relate, and they can relate to their history, to what they went through. So they're always thinking, I got someone in there that we can appeal to that will help us. But the Democratic Party has been saying this for 50 years, and it's not working. It's not working. So I agree. They shouldn't do that. And that's why Donald Trump was making headway. And they were thinking, how do we stop that? And
but they're saying African American younger men have no respect for her.
Right.
They're not interested in.
She threw them in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back to the history, the more educated you are on Kamala Harris, she isn't for you. She isn't for even regular Democrats, because she's so far left. She makes Bill Maher look like a Republican.
Boy, Govy's fired up today. Look at him, man.
Well,
he's really fired up,
well,
folks.
here's what you got to look at. Project 25. Remember that. It's going to be the...
Oh, my God.
You're going to hear Project 25. And Donald Trump this morning even said, I'm not for this 25. I know nothing really about it. It's just a right wing, just like a left wing nut. But they're going to shove it down your throat. Why? Because they control ABC, NBC, CBS. So all you're going to hear is Project 25, Project 25. He could denounce it 1,000 times, just like he could say there were good people. Charlottesville. I mean, you don't see them talking about this. And then Joe Biden... when you control the media, like I said, a guy could step down and still not tell you the reason why. The big thing is, should the guy be president?
So, Govy and I, we talk a bunch of times during the week. We laugh about this. The people are listening to our show, the news cable stations. And about a week or two ago, we talked about the fact that Joe Biden was going to step down, but they're waiting for him to find 100 or 200 million to pay him off. Now, do you see they're talking about it on TV?
I saw that, and he did. They made a deal with him.
They made a deal with him. They're talking about it now. They're listening to us, Govy.
Right.
They made a deal. Somebody came up with 100. The donors, 100 or 200 million.
Right.
The donors stopped giving him money. And that caused him to have to quit. and they threatened the 25th Amendment on him. So everybody's, playing poker here. And then finally they hit his number. I don't think he got 200 million. What do you think he got? 50 million?
I lowered as the game went on, because it's all a game. It's all a game. And he saw, it's like funny. It's like almost like a stock. In the beginning, he probably could have squeezed them for a little bit more. But he stayed in the game a little too long as the river card was coming. It was basically, he knew that everybody knew he had losing cards. So I think like 25 to 50 million did it.
And that's nothing. I mean, these guys, somebody could write a check.
Well, by the way, she raised 81 million in 24 hours.
Right.
So that they were all holding back the money as the floodgate.
Right.
And that was what. But look at the people that did it. It takes 6 people, 7 people can get rid of the president of the United States. Because the guy, all of a sudden, on Friday, he was like, my last words are, I am not stepping down. And then all of a sudden, Sunday morning, he's texting, I got to go.
Well, that 25th Amendment thing where Kamala Harris can call the cabinet and they need, half the votes to kick him out? That's like a bomb. That's like, it's a detonation. How do you control anything if that's hanging over you? You have a disloyal vice president that wants your job. She's going to vote for it.
I would have loved to have been a fly in Kamala's house, her going up to her husband saying, we're getting close, we're forcing this guy out. Joe's walking down the plank today. Like, she knew exactly what it is, because she's ready. She's already hitting the path. Running like. Look, I think it's unbelievable that 6 people can control who the Democratic Party is.
So the 6 people are
Barack Obama.
Nancy Pelosi was the ringleader, I guess, right?
No, I think Barack Obama.
Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi,
Chuck Schumer, Katzenberg and Clooney from the donors from the donor base that they had. Hakeem Jeffries, Hakeem Jeffries, and there you go.
But Govy, let me ask you this question. Now I'm really getting educated. You're way more educated about this stuff than I am, but they're saying 92% of her staff has been fired or quit. Yeah. She can't get along with anybody. 92% of her staff has been fired. She must be a raging bitch. Can you imagine?
Well, not only that, what's crazy is, the logs are going to come out. The reason why they did it so late is it's only 100 days. 100 days goes by really fast, especially if something comes up in the world. You got to realize you have the Olympics for the next 2 weeks.
Then, is Jill Biden still going to the Olympics?
Oh, yeah. This is it. Her swan song. She has to put the gold medal on the people. Then you have the Democratic Convention. So by the time all this comes, it's September. It starts to come into the fall. You only really have a serious... By the way, early voting comes, and the next thing you know, she's rolling. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to come out on her. That's on her policies. So I think it was very tactful of everything they did but I think, listen, she has to still fall back. I'm curious if the union, the Teamsters who were going to back Trump, if they come out and back her now, because she's really trying to get this union thing. That would be interesting.
Well, I'm watching, we're addicted to this TV, and I'm watching, now that the press has turned on Biden and now they're behind Kamala Harris, they're also saying the bandage on Trump's ear is fake. He didn't really get hit by a bullet, and they want to see the medical report. It's almost like Andre Bocelli saying he's not blind. It's like a marketing thing. It's just marketing, folks. He's really not blind.
They're just going to their base.
It's so extreme that it's just so crazy to listen to this crap.
Let me ask you a question. Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow on MSNBC, for 7 years, they were like, we got him. We got him in this case. We got him in that case. Every time they think they have him dead, he comes back and he laughs at him. By the way, the guy is a felon right now, which will be overturned, but they have him doing that. They've done everything to this guy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But now
he's invincible.
And now you'll have Netanyahu coming down. How do you feel about the Netanyahu flying down to our neck of the woods down here to kiss the ring?
Well, first of all, they closed the road. You can't get down that road anymore, and all the Palm Beachers are getting crazy over it. I mean, there's like a mile stretch that road's closed in front of Mar-a-Lago, which it's easy to get around it. It's just a pain in the ass, especially if you live down that road. But that's kind of crazy because Mar-a-Lago's closed right now. I don't know whether he opens it up. How like all the awnings are gone, all the outside furniture's gone. Why he's meeting them down there and not up where he's in the summer at Bedminster? But I thought his speech was unbelievable, and I'm sitting there and I'm wishing there was a split screen between the way Benjamin Netanyahu talks and Joe Biden talks. I mean, he was great.
Well, there's a meme going around that shows you that when Zelensky talked, Kamala Harris is standing right behind him with the Ukrainian flag which has never been done before, that another flag is being hung, like being held up in the Capitol Rotunda with as the guy's going, she's holding it up very proud. Then they showed you yesterday Netanyahu basically talking, and there's like an empty chair. It was a person that took her spot, but it's like basically an empty chair that she decided to give a speech to a sorority in Indiana when a person who has, by the way, that has the ability to release or try to get American hostages. We still have American hostages over in a place, and she says, I want to talk to these sorority. I mean, her thinking, she blew her first case there. But
well, I think that's why 92% of her staff quit. They probably recommended, look, you can't skip Benjamin, Bibi Netanyahu, you got to go. It's the only ally the America has in the Middle East. You have to go to this thing and sit behind him. And she said, fuck you, no. I'm going to my sorority, fuck him. And, that was her. I think that's why she lost a lot of her staff, because she had this independent belief on so many of these stupid ideas. I mean, I agree with you, Gavi. I mean, it's horrific. And then they had all the protesters outside. They literally ripped the American flag down.
But let me ask you a question: would this make a difference to you? If I came up with her log as she's vice president,
right?
And I said to you, I want to show you what she did Monday through Friday, because no one knows right now of what she did, and I showed you her log. And if I told you that she flew to California to her house every Thursday, and she was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and flew back Monday, and then she really had an easy couple days doing some little meeting this school, would that make a difference to you if you found out that she really did nothing during her?
My answer would be, you'd have to show me Dan Quayle's schedule. You'd have to show me, Al Gore's schedule. What did these guys do as vice president? Did they go to schools? Did they go to businesses? Did they talk? Or did they just hang around waiting for the call? The president's been shot, Is your job to sit and wait, or is your job to be busy? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
I'll tell you what's going to be big right now. It's everybody wants to see who's more likable on two candidates that aren't likable to a lot of people. So what Trump's doing that I happen to think is pretty good is, on a lighter moment, have you seen the YouTube of him and Bryson DeChambeau?
Yeah. I don't understand. What is getting under 50? It's a golf show, folks. It's a golf show.
It's a golf show with Bryson DeChambeau, who is our U.S. Open champion. No, he was our U.S. Open. It's his second U.S. Open champion, and it shows you that he has this podcast, but he has this TV show with playing a course with a partner, I guess, and trying to go 50 shots or under in a course, and they play from the red tees.
So 18 holes and you only shoot a 50?
That's pretty from the red tees.
But it's best ball of the two people. How's it work? How can you possibly shoot a 50?
They did. Well,
Did they?
Yeah, they shot
Wow.
on the number as they're going, and I mean Trump is carrying him on like 3 holes because
Oh my God.
Bryson's trying to put it close, but Trump is literally. You're watching Donald Trump high five Bryson DeChambeau because Trump is carrying his weight. He's not just some guy there, and it comes down to the last putt, and Trump has like a 16-footer uphill putt. And if he makes it, they get a 50. And he makes it. And you see Bryson DeChambeau rolling on the ground. He can't believe.
He can't believe
And, they're high-fiving. They're listening to music. And Bryson DeChambeau says, what's your favorite?
Yeah, music. I saw that clip.
It's just pretty... It's pretty nice to see this guy on a golf cart.
But does that ruin... well, I guess... Bryson DeChambeau went to Live Golf, the competing golf tour. But, a lot of golfers, we talked about it on the show. I see a lot of golfers up there playing with Trump, like Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus, and a lot of them don't want people to know that they're friendly with Trump. It's kind of like they're afraid to be affiliated with him. Like Sylvester Stallone, who I see up there, stopped going up there the last year or 2 years since Capitol, maybe 3 years now. But now he just did a commercial for Trump's campaign, for president. So I guess they're back together again. But a lot of these golfers don't want people to know that they played golf with him, like Dustin Johnson. I saw him. You see a lot of the older golfers up there.
Well,
Gary Player's there all the time. But did you see the Bryson DeChambeau had a great clip? So he's playing against this guy, and the deal is the guy gets to call out whatever club he has to use. So it's a par 3. Bryson DeChambeau hits the ball 350 yards, and the par 3's like 175. And he says, all right, you have to use a 3-wood, which he can't possibly hit. He'd hit it over the green. And he chunks it and gets it on the green. It was a great clip.
Right, to try to use a 5-iron to make it do anything you want. Well, one thing I could tell you about golfers, the biggest joke, is look at all your golfers, and the guy who just won the British Open, Schauffele.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Okay, but I'm just going to throw him in the mix, just like Ricky Fowler, just like Tiger Woods, just like all these golfers. And you say, okay, here's his bio. Born in San Diego, raised in San Diego, went to San Diego State. Where does he live now? Jupiter, Florida.
Everybody lives in there.
So now, why are all these golfers
tax-free state?
Right. So let's face it. They're basically saying, I'm getting out of California because it's a piece of crap state where I'm not paying my taxes for this, and they only want more. Kamala wants to tax you 70%. So after Trump got shot, now you have people coming out. You've got Elon Musk saying, okay, here's $45 million a month. You got people that never wore the red hat because they didn't want to. They didn't want to attach themselves to them. You got a lot of people who are very proud right now. They're sitting at her. They're looking at her, and they're saying, hey, I'll wear the hat. There's a lot of Jews out there. I got to tell you something. If you're a Jew, you got to be crazy to vote for her. You got to just be crazy.
You got to be nuts. Well, let's jump to the Olympics before our show's over. It's ripping through the show. First of all, we touched on it. Jill Biden taking Air Force 2 or Lady Air Force or whatever, and her contingent of Secret Service agents over to the Paris Olympics. I can't even imagine what that costs. Can you imagine? They got to ship cars, they have agents, her jet, the whole deal.
Can't we send, though, the same agents that protected Donald Trump? Or is that a mean thing to say?
No, wait. Does Hunter get to go with Jill Biden over there?
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, Hunter gets, and the whole family gets to go.
Well, right before his court case, it's his last hurrah. Maybe he stays there.
But you see, Celine Dion
he might not be allowed to leave the country.
He might not. Yeah, he might not be. But Celine Dion is going to come out of retirement. They say she's going to do one song for $2 million at the Olympics.
You want to know something?
That's pretty cool.
Justin Bieber told her that he got $10 million to go entertain the Indian guy, and $2 million is nothing. He wouldn't even get out of bed for $2 million.
Amina Bani or whatever that guy's
gave him
name
$10
is.
million for what? 4 songs?
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
But here's my prediction on the Olympics. I got my 3 favorite people in the Olympics are in the girls section, Jess Pagula, Navarro, and then in the men's side, Tommy Paul. 3 great tennis players. Hopefully one of these Americans medal. But as far as my prediction on this Olympics, this will be one of the most disappointing performance by Americans in years on how the rest of the world either caught up to us or past us. I think we are going to get beat in swimming by Australia, maybe Germany, France, but we're not going to be the power. I think track and field, we're not going to be the power. I think gymnastics, if Simone Biles or whatever can keep her head together, she might win a gold medal, but we're not winning the gold medal. Our soccer team got beat by a team already, 3-0 by France. Our men's basketball team and our ladies basketball team, give them both the gold medal. They're both going to win. The rest of the Olympics, we're going to sit there and it's going to be it's going to be horrible.
Now, does Ukraine or Iran, do they get to go? I'm not even following.
Yeah, I think they do.
They do. And can you imagine what the security is for the Olympics, that they don't have an Israeli kind of thing like they did, I don't know, in the 60s or the 70s?
Their soccer team performed yesterday, the Israeli soccer
Oh,
team.
did they?
Unbelievable. They were booing every time they touched the
Can you
ball.
imagine the security? It must be insane.
Yeah.
But I remember back as a kid, everybody wanted to go to the Olympics. Nobody's even talking about it now.
Right.
You used to open up the paper, and nobody reads a paper except me and a couple other people. The whole front page was color when they started making color. The Olympics, I don't even know who the players are. I don't know who the fastest man in the world is. I don't know anything anymore. It's like you're out of it.
Well, I think like today, how things have changed. If you live in Salt Lake City, you live in Park City, and you're in the snow places, and you just got awarded the Winter Olympics of 2034, I think you say, God damn shit, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
You're disappointed. Who wants them to come to your thing where it's taken over, all the construction and stuff? You don't want them there.
But I remember all the names like Mark Spitz and Caitlyn or Bruce Jenner, and do you remember all
Nadia
these?
Comaneci.
Comaneci, and all these people. I don't even, it's like out of sight, out of mind. It doesn't seem like.
Well, there's not professional track and field. So they disappear right after.
Usain Bolt. Was that it? The fastest man in the world?
But he lasted because he went to 1 or 2 Olympics. Michael Phelps went to four Olympics.
Right.
Now it's hard. It's how long can you do the broad jump?
Right.
But the big thing is the women on how pretty some of these athletes
Gorgeous.
are.
Oh my God, that track and field girl.
The German track and field, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Now, can they, as an amateur, can they get money and endorsements?
Yeah, NIL. So they get money in all the way. They're making a ton of money.
Good.
So right now we're also coming into college football season, and I talked to a guy that is pretty involved in college football. And famous matter of fact that people see on Saturdays, and it's a real situation with people gambling on games and everything like that.
Yeah,
this NIL is bringing college football. I think it's going to hurt the sport like you can't believe, because there's so much changing going on, because you're buying these student athletes that you could have a team that literally has 25 new guys from one year to the next. So it's hard to know which player you had. If you got a guy that came as a freshman, you knew that, okay, I got him as a sophomore or junior. Now, every year, it's 25 new people. So you don't know how good your team's going to be or how bad your team's going to be. But I'll tell you who...
Don't they have the red shirt, though, if they can't?
No, not anymore. So
they got to put that back in.
So now the quarterback for, say, University of Miami, he was the quarterback for Washington State. Now, he was going to go into the pros. He was going to be drafted probably in the 4th round. But Miami gave him $4 million.
Crazy.
So now he gets this 1 year, And if he can move up to the second round, he gets actually second round money now, guaranteed, and he gets to see how well he does. But I'll tell you who knows all these players. Vegas.
Yeah.
And the bookmakers and the thing, they know every player out there. So why me, if I'm betting on a ball game, I'm like, okay, I'm betting on the Miami Hurricanes. But is it the Miami Hurricanes of last December or it's a new team? But the new people in Vegas, they know that they stink and they're not going to be that good.
So what does a smaller school do? How do they compete? I mean,
they don't.
But I think
they don't, and they're going to go to the wayside.
As you're explaining it to me, because I wasn't aware of this, it almost helps college ball, though, because these guys aren't going to run to the pros for money anymore. You know, a lot of them are broke kids, you know, that left early, you know, maybe third year to go into the pros to get money to buy their parents a house or whatever.
But football...
You hear that, kids?
Yeah, but football, where it's going to change is I'm going to tell you the rosters that you're going to start to know. As crazy as this sounds, you're going to say... University of Arkansas. You're going to say, boy, like you'll look at their basketball team this year that Calipari's now going to be coaching there. And I'm like, why does someone want to go to Arkansas? Tell me the players that are important of Arkansas, and I'll tell you who the players are. Tyson Foods.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones.
He played football.
And Walton from Walmart.
Yeah.
Okay, those three guys are the guys that are now paying for Arkansas. You better know those players.
Yeah.
You know, you got to start knowing who are the boosters.
Right.
Because now that you're allowed to pay, before it was illegal and it had to be hush-hush. Now you want to know it's okay. University of Michigan. Oh, Stephen Ross, come on down.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any of them and you're like Temple University.
Right.
And all you have is Mitch Morgan?
Yeah, you got Mitch Morgan.
I mean...
He's a billionaire.
Yeah. So that's when you sit there and say, okay, I think we could support tennis, squash, water polo, but any big sport, it's over. It's over. They can't compete.
Wow, what a crazy subject. All right, Govy, we ripped through our show. We got another exciting week of TV watching. We'll talk to each other 20, 30 times, chat it up, get some conspiracy theories. I just hope they figure out, you know, this guy's got encrypted phones or encrypted bank accounts or encrypted something before anything bad hopefully never happens. But, I mean, they got to figure out, you know, it's funny. The federal government is now willing to go to foreign countries or private industries to get into these encrypted phones because they can't do it. It's kind of crazy that the big money hackers aren't in the United States anymore.
I just find it unbelievable that, and I never felt this way before, but when I see like Russia where they did a trial for the journalist, the Wall Street Journal journalist that they gave him 16 years.
Yeah.
Even though he was in Russia where everybody else is out, and I don't know what he's doing by doing on their sites. When our country sits there and says, it was a sham of a trial. It was a sham of a trial. That's not democracy. You got to sometimes sit back and say, what do you think they're thinking when they see an actual opponent of Biden sitting there and they're talking about Stormy Daniels? I mean, that's a sham of a trial. Why does the United States get to complain about everybody else, yet we're changing the rules as we go?
Because they don't see it. They don't see it. They're very righteous. They believe what they're doing is right. And they believe Trump's a crook and, you know, he deserves... You know, it's like my father always used to say when a judge got arrested for stealing $50, I would say to my dad, "Can you believe a judge got arrested for stealing?" He said, "Look, he did it 10,000 times. He just got caught for the $50." So that's what everybody's saying about Trump. He was a crook his whole life. So, you know, we had to make this trial up to make him go to jail, whatever. Anyway, Govy, have a great week. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, we're all over the place. Everybody have a great week.
See ya.